Tom Rousey is live in Germantown. Tom, with what kind of charges that young man could face once he's out of the hospital. Tom?
And Josh and Michelle, let me kind of sum up what happened for you here. This longtime federal employee was headed east to his job yesterday morning on Clopper Road that way. While he was heading that way, a stolen car being driven by a 13-year-old came from that direction north on Great Seneca Highway here. It ran right into that longtime federal worker and killed him. The car, which was filled with young people, wound up flipped over in that area. We looked into whether the 13-year-old driver or even potentially others in the car could be charged. You can see the terrible damage to this Toyota. It belonged to 58-year-old Vance Payne of Berryville, Virginia, a father of 5 who was on his way to work early Tuesday. He was a mechanical engineer at the National Institute of Standards and Technology in Gaithersburg. They tell me he'd been working there for nearly 30 years. Montgomery County police say the car that hit Payne was stolen and being driven by a 13-year-old boy. 6 other kids between 12 and 15 years old were also in the vehicle. All of them were taken to the hospital. The 13-year-old boy driver was admitted in critical condition. We don't have any update on his or the other boys and girls' conditions today due to their ages.
Some of the charges that would be applicable in this case could potentially be would normally be a felony as an adult.
Criminal defense attorney Mark J. Anderson, a former Montgomery County prosecutor, tells 7 News the consequences for this young man could potentially be very serious.
He could be charged with auto theft. He could be charged with vehicular manslaughter, those types of charges, but all would be in the juvenile court with no ability to have him in adult court because he is 13.
And you can see some of the debris from the accident still on the scene. A short time ago, one of Vance Payne's co-workers visited the scene. He told me through tears that Payne was one of the nicest and friendliest people he'd ever met. And he said his co-workers at the National Institute of Standards and Technology are just devastated. I asked police as far as that 13-year-old driver going this way. Did he run a red light? Was he speeding? They say this is still under investigation and they're not ready to answer those questions at this time. Back to you in the studio.
And Tom, with so many unanswered questions about the investigation and the circumstances that led up to this, have you heard any word on possible charges in this?
Well, Michelle, it's the Montgomery County State's Attorney's Office that could potentially be the one to bring charges. I did reach out to them today, but they said something similar to what police said. They said since it's still under investigation, they're not ready to comment on any possible charges against that 13-year-old driver or even potentially against any of the other juveniles in that car. Reporting live in Germantown in Montgomery County, I'm Tom Rousey, 7 News.